What's in your wallet?
I'm so old.
I'm going to give it a 1 out of 5 explosive hot dog carts.
Ritualistic blood magic.
Laser shooting chesty statues.
Don't watch movies unless we tell you to. Welcome to Movies with My Best Friend Phil, a movie podcast for anthropomorphic dogs, jocks, rich kids, stoners, and lesbians? I'm your host, Phil Kessel. You guess which one of those I am, and which one of those my two best friends are that are on this podcast with me. Best friend number 1, Will Jodas.
Hey, lesbian.
I was going to say, we're all lesbians.
That's my thought. Best friend letter A, Craig.
Yes, hello, lesbian number 2 here.
Yeah. Lesbian number 3 here.
What if it was just Scooby Doo, but they're all lesbians?
Did you mention Scooby Doo in that list? In that run?
Yeah, anthropomorphic dog. That's maybe not the word I meant to use.
Anthropomorphic dog?
Because isn't that a dog that...
It's not an anthropomorphic dog. You're correct.
It's specifically not, because he's straight up a dog.
He is just
Goofy
a talking
is
dog.
an anthropomorphic dog.
Yes.
Listen, I'm not a dogologist, guys.
I don't think
Afropomorphic.
Yeah. See, now that's Rachel Dolezal. No,
Yeah.
Jesus.
No, I don't know. I don't think dogs, come in that variety anyway, so I think you're good.
Yeah.
Anthropomorphic dogs don't come.
Scooby-Doo's a Great Dane.
He is a Great Dane.
He's also a great dog.
One of the greatest Danes and one of the greatest dogs.
Yes.
We all love him. Speaking of dogs, tricks, old dogs, new tricks, old people. Today, I did a presentation at work, and I need to get this out because I don't think this person meant to shame me as bad as they did. But I'm doing this presentation, and I give like a professional about me. I've been in the industry for whatever. I do this. I'm good at this. I like this. And then a little bit of personal. I was like, I big old nerd. I play D&D. I like video games. I do a podcast with my friends about movies. And I try and pick bad and or weird movies. And at the end of the presentation, one of the guys who I'm not great at telling ages. If you're between like 18 and 39 and you're a guy, I cannot tell which side of that you swing, like which area of that you're in, really. I'm very bad at it. I think he might have been like 5, maybe 7 or 8 years younger than me at the most. But he asked me, oh, hey, what kind of video games do you play? What are you playing right now? And I was like, oh, I just downloaded the Oblivion remaster. And he's like, oh, yeah, I heard it's really good. I was like, yeah, it's really good so far. It's like one of my favorite games. I've purchased it like 4 times, and we both laughed at the shame of I've literally purchased this game 4 times now on different systems. Sometimes the same system, because at one point I had one and then didn't have it, then had it again. And then he looks me just dead in the eye and he says, "Yeah, no, I never played it. I think my generation was more Skyrim, but I've heard it's really good." And I thought, you son of a bitch, I was at the midnight launch of Skyrim. My generation, my ass. That hurt. That hurt me. Because I felt very old.
Yeah.
Yeah, he might have thought you were Gen X.
Ew.
I think that's what happened.
Oh, that's so gross.
I feel like if he was Gen X, it would have been like Morrowind.
Yeah,
at least.
Well, but no. No, he thought you were Gen X, so that means he was Gen Z, which is Gen Z always gets millennials and Gen X confused.
Yeah, I feel like he was either the youngest of millennial or the oldest of Gen Z, and I'm guessing he thought I was like an elder millennial or a young Gen X. I think it's the gray in the beard throws people.
Unfortunately, it is.
Yeah, so somebody at my last job thought I was like in my 40s, and she's like, she covered it up. She's like, "Oh, just because you have it all like together," and I was like, "No, I don't.
That's the biggest like whatever I'm told."
And like every day, I'm about to quit this job. Like, yeah. I do not have it together, lady. We were the same age. We were like the same age, like within months of each other. Yeah. So feeling a little raw today, guys.
Sorry about that.
Yeah. That being said, the Oblivion remaster is great because it's like they just freshened it up and it's still the same great, janky, dumb game that I love so much.
So I saw a bunch of things online where it's like Oblivion, people are like, this isn't a remaster, it's a remake. And like all this debate of whether or not it's a remaster or a remake.
Oh, yeah.
And it's like, this isn't a debate thing. This, like, literally, it's not, they didn't remake the entire game. They went in and remastered the graphics.
Technically, they put it in Unreal Engine 5.
But they kept the bones of the original game.
Yeah, it's a weird, like, because I was talking to somebody about this. It's a weird thing where they've, like, draped the skin of Unreal Engine 5 over this game that was already there.
Yeah.
And so it is just this, like...
But it's not, they didn't remake the code of the game. They didn't go in and remake the game.
They like ported
something over it. But it
just
is so funny to me that people are like, oh man, this is not even a remaster. It's a remake. And I'm like, right, but those words have meaning. Words have meaning.
Yeah.
And what this isn't.
Yeah.
It's like when, I don't know. It's words have meaning. It's not a remaster. It doesn't matter how much you want
sprinting,
it to be.
So that they had to do something.
Oh, bullshit. It's not the
they
same.
did? They added that?
They added sprinting and they changed where like your health bars are and they reorganized. The biggest
it's a
thing.
Remake.
You guys are
It's
not.
a remake. Never
You
mind.
guys are not going
Never
to care.
mind.
The biggest thing is they took the alchemy menu and made it like organizable.
Oh.
So you can like look for specific potions and do I have the ingredients for that potion? It's game changer for me as a we would call them Oblivistans in the fandom. So for a real Oblivistan, it's like a big game changer for me because I'm playing a Witcher character right now.
Smash cut to Phil on his computer on a subreddit called Oblivistans, and it just is him. He's the only member.
He's the only person.
Just sitting at his computer, staring at it and going, yeah.
Yeah, that sounds like me.
I
definitely know how to make a subreddit. I definitely have commented on Reddit more than 3 times in the last 6 years.
You're a lurker.
I made a Witcher class though.
Cool, that is cool.
So I got like a sword, and I do a little bit of magic, and then alchemy, and then the last skill I was like, oh, I don't know what to take, so I just took mercantile. So I'm like, he'd be like trading stuff in, like selling stuff, like monster parts.
Sure.
I feel like,
yeah.
So like that felt like it fit. It's been pretty good so far.
Is that your thing? Your wallet thing?
Oh no, I just needed to talk about how old I am.
That's right. It's the segment where we reach deep into our best friend's pants and whip out some recommendations. It's what's in your wallet.
Gold pouch.
So that was Phil's.
Damn it.
So instead of buying Oblivion, which I've never played, I just started playing Skyrim again.
Oh, so you are a millennial.
Yes.
Oh, you're younger than me. Oh no, I'm the old one now.
Yeah, you're the old man now.
Yeah.
Wait, did you really?
Yeah.
Fuck yeah. Skyrim's good.
Skyrim's good. I don't remember stuff, and so I turned into a wolf.
Oh,
out
yeah.
of nowhere.
Happens.
I was like, turn back.
Yeah.
Roar. I'm like, stop.
Let me eat all the civilians.
Yeah, you get that. Yeah, I had that happen to me too because like I did not understand how those games worked, where they like sort of like they're so reactive to you in a way. Where it's like the level scales with you, and like you can go wherever you want.
Yeah.
And so I came from a games where it was like you played a place until you cleared it out forever. And then you moved on and you never went back to that place.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean?
Oh,
Like, because that's how games used to be.
That's not
Not it
these
at all.
games.
So I was just sticking around the very first town for forever. And if you do that, you get turned into a werewolf. So that was like the first thing I did.
I just killed the Emperor, so that's fun.
That's a good one.
Whoa.
I don't remember. Like, I'm only like level 39 or something, and I have
I love
put in
it.
like.
Oh, I'm only level 39.
Well,
It gets up to like there's no limit.
There's no limit,
Okay.
yeah, in that game.
Well, that's what I thought. I looked. I'm like, I felt because I played it for like 80 hours before I stopped. I have not picked up this game since before my kids, so this would have been like 11, 12 years ago.
Yeah.
I was playing Skyrim. We were in an
Dang.
apartment, I remember, and I booted it up, I'm like, oh, all my saves are here. That's good. And then instantly, this guy just kept following me and saying, "Hey, what can I do for you? Hey, what can I do for you?" Like, son of a bitch, leave me alone.
Love those games so much. I'm such an Elder Scrolls fan. I love the jankiness of them. I love that they never release a like working copy of their video game.
They'll re-release it. Just,
it's chock full of bugs. But what I actually genuinely love that they do is that they support the modding community really well. Like I know they've hired people from the modding community.
Yeah.
But like it's a little lazy maybe, I don't know, but they kind of like crowdsource finishing their game a little bit.
Yeah, for sure.
But I like the jank. I like the weirdness.
But in a game like like the idea behind Elder Scroll and Skyrim, like those types of games, is that there are limitless possibilities. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So I feel like at some point at Bethesda, you'd be like, how can we play test and figure out every single, you know what I mean?
Yeah,
why not
you
just
can't.
like let people figure out? I mean, that honestly is why people do like early access stuff. It's because they're like,
Ooh, I'm sorry.
hey, do you want to be a play tester on my game? You get early access and all this extra things. But because like, you know, the amount of time I would need to spend to play this game over and over and over and over and over again is physically impossible if I actually ever want this game to come out, you know?
Right.
Yeah. And you need fresh eyes anyway. So it's like, it's also like logistically impossible.
Yeah,
you know?
especially like you said, where it's like it's a game that's so open, so sandboxy that like
oh God.
Lucy. There's just like anything can happen. So
Lucy
there's no way
just
they
sneezed in Craig's face. He
It
did
was
not
adorable.
He did not recognize the pre-dog sneeze smile.
Yeah, I'm like, oh, Lucy's smiling. Oh shit. You scared the hell out of me, Lucy.
And then so Wesley Snipes plays a cowboy who's been cursed, and he is attacking these other guys, and he's killing these other guys. And you find out
have to say something. People are going to assume they accidentally clicked skip episode. What are you talking about?
What are you talking about? Yeah, what happened?
Oh. Yeah, no, I was just like I normally do. I was just going through my thing that's in my wallet. It's a movie called Gallow Walkers.
Oh, right, of course.
I don't know why this movie got panned. So this movie is it's older. It's Wesley Snipes. He plays a cowboy in it, in like this weird West where like dead people come back to life sometimes for reasons.
Yeah,
and then there's like a gang that's led by a skinless man.
Hate when that happens.
And it's a whole weird movie. And it got panned, and I think just because it's like, you know how critics can be, where like, oh, this movie's terrible, and it's like not well made, and it's like incomprehensible most of the time, and they're just like, yeah, I don't think this is very good, you know?
Yeah, I've heard them say things like that similarly.
Yeah, and it's really unfair just because a movie is completely incomprehensible and I couldn't tell you the plot of it.
That's really unfair.
It was really just a bizarre movie to watch, though, because Wesley Snipes is playing such a strange character with this guy, and then there's a skinless man who puts on someone else's face skin, and then it morphs to his face, and then he is just now that actor playing the guy, and it's weird. And then there's Wesley Snipes kills his friend. Well, not his friend, but like just kills a guy so that he'll come back to life instead of bleeding out and not coming back to life. And then it's just a buck wild movie.
What era? Like when did this come out?
90s or very early 2000s.
Oh, okay.
It is. I have been trying to watch every like weird Western horror movie I can get my hands on. And I don't know how this one slipped by me, but I found it on Prime just randomly. And I was so happy to have watched it because it is so weird and so bad.
Do you have a favorite Weird West?
Okay, a lot of people are going to say Bone Tomahawk.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that one's good, but it's not quite weird enough for me. There was one with Michael Shannon. It's called Birds or something. I think that one might be my favorite of the genre.
I mean, Michael Shannon's good in everything. So.
It's Michael Shannon. And they're so that in that one, they're like these bank robbers that made a big score, and then they're meeting the guy who has the money at his family's old estate in like one of the southern states. And then they're staying there, and then weird shit starts happening in this house because it's like it's a former plantation. Like a lot of people died there. It's like a really terrible place, and so there's ghosts there, and the ghosts start like terrorizing this group, and it's I really enjoyed that one. I always like Michael Shannon. I feel like there's another Weird West one that I'm forgetting, but it's a genre that's near and dear to my heart, and most of them are not good.
Would Cowboys and Aliens count?
It's
as
in
a Weird
there.
West?
It's in there.
Is it basically any cowboy movie with like any other genre?
I think, supernatural cowboy.
Yeah, cowboy with any sort of supernatural, any sort of science fiction. Wild Wild West is in there.
Yeah, that's true.
Ravenous is actually, I will maybe take back Birds. Ravenous was really, really good.
I feel like there's got to be more ghost westerns.
You'd think there would be.
Oh, have you seen Pale Rider?
I have not seen Pale Rider yet. It is so high on my list, but it's one of those ones where it's like I want to sit down with that one and like actually watch it, not just have it on while I'm working.
I'll let you know, it is not like a Weird West.
Yeah,
it plays it very straight.
Yeah,
but you're just like, is that guy dead?
Yeah, it's the Sixth Sense of cowboy movies.
Is that a ghost?
Yeah, no, and I know the general plot of that one. It's high on my list, but like I said, I'm like, that's one where I actually want to take my time because there's not a lot in this genre that are genuinely good. Most of them are like, oh, that's a fun concept, but they didn't have the money to execute it well, or they mozzarella sticked it too much.
Would you consider Tremors to be a Weird West?
I'm right on the border with that one because Tremors.
I mean, it's definitely a creature feature.
Yeah, it's so creature featurey. It does feel on the border of a Western, but I don't know if that's just because of the physical setting. So I'm conflicted on Tremors. I do love that series.
Yeah.
Oh, so much. And I haven't seen it in a while. I've been yearning for a rewatch of that one.
Yeah.
But yeah, I think I could put it as an honorary member. They have the fourth one, Back to Perfection, takes place in the Old West. So like, I feel like it has to be an honorary.
Back to the Future.
Back to the Future part. Yeah, that one's in there. I think what it is it's a silly genre. I think it doesn't have to be, and I think Bone Tomahawk is a modern example of it not having to be.
Well, it's
silly.
Like, it is a comedy. It's a comedy. It is a mixing of genres. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, so it's got a level of like, silliness to it. You know.
I'm hoping, because I feel like I'm seeing a resurgence in Westerns right now. I'm hoping that we're due for some good weird ones. Bone Tomahawk's not that old. I feel like one of the other ones I just watched is not that old. But there's been like Kevin Costner just did a big Western. Primeval something or other on Netflix just dropped recently. There's been quite a few Westerns. Sinners isn't a Western, but it's still like kind of a period piece.
Yeah.
Ish.
That's more of a Southern Gothic.
It's Southern Gothic, but like Southern Gothic and Weird West are they're holding hands. They're holding pinkies.
Mm-hmm.
They're doing the Cynthia Erivo, Ariana Grande hand holding thing. Absolutely, they are.
Okay, so can I sidestep yours?
Absolutely,
Get into mine. So mine is Sinners.
Yes. We were gonna go see it on Sunday.
I know.
Jack and I were gonna go see it on Sunday. Yeah, we thought about it, but then our plans fully changed on Sunday.
Okay. So we had planned to go all see this together because I was just dying to see this movie.
Same.
Because the reviews have been excellent. Word of
Stellar.
mouth has been great. And my wife decided that she wanted to see it. My wife. And so went on a date night and went and saw it, and it was the best movie I saw this year.
Wow, very cool.
Yeah. So I won't go into it too much, but
Yeah, no spoilers, or I'll take off my headphones, and you can do spoilers.
yeah, it knocked me on my ass. I'll just say it like that much.
Wait, that won't work because we're in the same room.
We're in the same
I'm an
room.
idiot.
Yeah. But the only bad thing is when you have a movie that's popular, like a lot of people are seeing it. In this day and age, people have forgotten how to act in movie theaters.
Oh no!
And so there was like 2 different people in like the far up rows who were just recording the movie the whole time. Like we kept seeing their phone
What?
going up.
It's like
recording parts
taking a
of it.
video at a concert, which I do
Yeah.
all the time. I've never once looked at the footage from a concert.
I know. Why did we do that?
It wouldn't even for a movie. It wouldn't. I don't.
Well, people like I keep seeing clips or like little things of it on Reels and TikTok. So I think people are just like
Oh,
their
they're
favorite
trying
parts.
to get the
They're trying to
content.
get that and trying to get something out of it. But this was just like really herky jerky. So I don't know what they were doing. But
I think they were doing exactly what you described.
Yeah.
They were finding parts they knew were coming up or they liked as they were happening. And maybe they were using it to try and get like internet clout, or maybe that's just how they talk to their friends now by sending them movie clips as they're watching the movie.
because they were
Do you know what I
definitely
mean?
it was
Yeah.
like they do this and you can tell
Yeah.
they were texting.
They were probably sending it to their buddies and
They
being
might have
like,
been
"This
snapping
part's
it.
wild." Or,
I
you
I
know
did it
what
with
mean?
concerts,
Yeah.
Snapchat concerts sometimes, and then usually after like one video, I'm like, oh, they're not going to be able to hear anything. It's going to blow out the speakers,
Yeah,
in
it's
the,
not-
or blow
yeah.
out the mic in my phone. It's
Yeah,
going to look terrible and
Yeah,
sound
I
terrible.
remember I did that a couple
This
times with
sucks.
concerts. I would like send it to somebody and then I'd listen later. I'm like, you can't hear a word of it. Yeah.
And then the other thing I already talked about Skyrim. I am almost done with
Skyrim.
season 2 of Severance, and it's very good. So
Is that the one where they finally sever?
yes, they sever all time.
All
They
the
sever all the
rents.
ants.
Oh.
Oh.
All right, Will, what you got?
Well,
Let's.
let's sever mine and
Well,
Craig's recommendations
I'm
and
glad.
go with yours.
I'm glad we're going to land on me because we're going to end on me rather because
Yeah, we're not landing on you.
I've nothing. I've nothing. I'm not doing anything new. I just beat Hades, which was fun.
Oh, I mean, you could
rolled
you could talk
credits.
about another like roguelike game that you enjoyed playing.
I'm gonna talk this weekend. I on Friday I pulled out the old Nintendo Switch N64 controller and played some Mario Kart. Not Mario
Nice.
Kart, Mario Party.
Nice.
With my wife, and we had a great time because I won.
Yes.
Otherwise, we would not have.
Who is your guy?
Who is my guy? For
I guess it depends on the version, but
yeah, I mean, when I was a kid, I always liked Yoshi. You know,
Yeah,
you
Yoshi.
seem like a Yoshi guy.
yeah, I always liked Yoshi. But now that I'm like older, I kind of find the sounds he makes grating. So I don't pick him as often or whatever. And that kind of stuff all the time, just enough.
Yeah.
So I think this time I played as Dekong.
Dekong.
Yeah,
I've been-
because his sounds aren't annoying at all.
Yeah. Well, that's what. And I was like, oh no, he's annoying too. Oh wait, they're all annoying.
Yeah, they're all annoying.
Except for Waluigi.
Yeah, he's not in this one. We played
just too
I think the
sensual.
second one. And then on Saturday, I went over to Phil's house and we played that Ninja Turtles game. We played a Ninja Turtles game that is a roguelite that is basically Hades, but Ninja Turtles themed and half the quality.
Yeah.
Oh no.
So it's fun to play, but confusing at
Not
times.
Great.
Yeah,
but
like,
very fun to play.
It's fun to play. You get a lot of different moves and stuff, but like it'll be like, what would you rather have, ooze or Utrum power? And I'm like, what in the hell does that mean?
Yeah, because they didn't explain it. We had to like wait until we had been playing for like 40 minutes before we figured out what they did.
Or we started a run and you just had like a bunch of health missing at the beginning.
Oh yeah, that
It's
one
like-
was weird.
That was weird.
Also, I kept dying, which definitely was the game being broken.
Yeah, it was definitely the game being broken and you not understanding you need to get out of the way of the bad guys when they have their move coming.
I'm a turtle. I have a hard shell. I don't know why I would get
Yeah.
hurt ever.
Yeah, and then on Sunday, I went over to the Henry Ford Museum with Craig, and we watched Francis Ford Coppola.
Yep.
Francis Ford at the Henry Ford.
Yep.
And he didn't talk about movies. He talked about his plans on how the world should work. So I think my recommendation is just having friends. Just do that, because then you can do fun stuff. I don't know, but the Francis Ford thing was
very strange.
It was very strange. So like,
never meet your heroes, kid.
Well, both Craig and I were like, hey, do you want to do this? And we're both like, sure. You know what I mean? Like, it wasn't like we have to do this, but it's like, well, he's very famous, made one of the greatest movies of all time, and
I like to hear what he has to say about his movies or like his thought process on certain things. And then he just like, this is how you're going to save the world. And it's like the most naive things ever.
So they sat down, and the interviewer, who is his biographer, the first question he asks isn't, how was the experience of making this movie? It isn't like, what advice do you have to young filmmakers? It was, how do we get out of this mess?
Yeah.
And Francis is like, well, here's how we get out of this mess. I don't know if anyone here knows this, and this may be news to you, but we're all cousins. And I was just like,
it was the most. It was as soon as he started that, I'm like, oh no.
I was like, wait, who doesn't know that? Like, who doesn't know that? Like, we're like, when you share a species with somebody, you are as closely related as you can be, because everything else is another species. You know what I mean? Like, just by like definition.
Let me explain why we all look different, though. I'm like, please,
he
talk about movies.
Oh boy.
And at one point he did say like, he like gave his whole like theory on why we have a patriarchy as opposed to a matriarchy, and like all this stuff.
No.
And it was just sort of like, every time I was like, here it comes. Here's the thing he's going to say that's going to be awful. And then he'd say it, and I'd be like, okay, that wasn't so bad.
Yeah.
And at least it kind of made sense. You know what I mean?
And nothing he said was like, he's very much into history and into anthropology. So you can definitely tell, like, a lot of his information.
That as an older man could be very yikes.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Yes.
But nothing he said was out of this world.
Yeah.
It was mostly like softly remembered things he read maybe like 20 years ago.
It really was.
Softly remembered things he's read.
That just reminds me. So I listened to the podcast Get Played a lot, and I've mentioned on here, and they were big fans of Hideo Kojima, and Hideo Kojima wrote a book, and they were all very excited to read it, and they read it, and it was literally like a list of all of his favorite movies and video games. Like, it was just him saying like,
awesome.
I really like this too.
Yeah.
And I really like this too. And this is another thing I like. And they were like, kind of wished he would talk about all the video games he's made.
Yeah.
And like,
that's what he
career.
does. That's what he does on Twitter. He just was like, hey, check out this movie I liked a lot.
Yeah.
That's all he does.
Yeah. So it did kind of feel a little bit like that. And it was like,
God, I wish we lived in a world where all like famous people just did that.
Oh,
just posted to Twitter like, hey, go watch this movie. I just watched it. It's great. Instead of the shit that they do.
Yeah.
So he did tell some stories about The Godfather, like at the end of it, they did like a question and answer thing, but that part was pretty brief. But it was still fun to do, and it was something to do, and it was a good memory.
It sounds so weird and so
I'll never
fun.
forget it, that's for sure.
Yeah.
Yeah. It was a lot of like me and Craig like independently kind of like looking at each other when the other wasn't looking.
Yeah, I didn't want to be rude, so I didn't want to be I almost looked at Will and I was just like, I'm sorry.
Yeah. And I was like, is he enjoying this? Is he checking in to see if I'm enjoying it? What face should I be making? Maybe I'll pretend like I'm having a great time.
Once she started leaning over, and I'm like, oh no. And then I'm like, whatever.
The part of the leaning forward was the chairs were the most uncomfortable chairs I'd ever sat in my life.
Sure. They were.
And I was like,
bad.
my legs are numb. Like, I cannot feel them.
Oh man, I love a good chair.
Yeah.
Speaking of chairs,
Yes, of course.
I think there are chairs in this movie.
There may
are
be chairs in a movie that we watched, which heavily featured an animal that famously can't sit in chairs, or maybe they can. They just don't do it often. Dogs. That's right. We watched a movie.
Yeah.
Was that a good one?
Yeah.
Scooby Doo, also known as Scooby Doo the movie, is a 2002 American mystery adventure comedy horror film. I don't have who directed it. Real quick, I'm gonna pull that up.
It's probably Francis Ford Coppola.
Yeah, I think it was Francis
Yeah.
Ford Coppola. I think you're right. Okay. Apparently, I was looking at
this
something
was
completely
his
different.
magnum opus before Megalopolis.
All right. It's directed by Raja Gosnell with a screenplay by James Gunn, which I was surprised to learn, and story by James Gunn and Craig Titley. It's starring Freddie Prinze Jr.
better than Craig Loosely.
It might be Tiddly.
Better than Craig Butterly.
Oh no!
Starring Freddie Prinze Jr., Sarah Michelle Gellar, Matthew Lillard, Linda Cardellini, and Rowan Atkinson. Let's see. It's 86 minutes long. Its budget was $84 million, and it made $275 million at the box office.
Yes, go Scoob.
How do you think this movie is sitting on Rotten Tomatoes?
99% and not a penny lower.
Okay, Phil, are you really just gonna give that answer?
No, it's probably like 38.
I'm gonna say, I'll say 34. That was my.
Oh man, Craig has it 32.
Oh yeah,
Okay.
in your
Yeah.
face, Phil.
Yeah, not well received at all.
Phil.
Phil, you picked this
Phil.
movie.
Yeah, I did.
Yeah, why did you do that?
So coming from the last one, Matthew Lillard, to this one, Matthew Lillard.
We watched SLC Punk.
Yeah, I wanted to see just a really different side of his acting.
Boy, howdy did you ever.
Yes.
Yeah. Mostly I wanted to watch this because, and Jack does not, okay, I maintain, and I have said this on the podcast multiple times, I've been trying to get her to watch this movie with me for the last like 3 or 4 years.
No idea why.
Not actively, just like every once in a while I'll be like, oh, we could just watch Scooby Doo.
Yeah.
Half joking, half like, yeah, what if we did though? Like it'd be kind of funny if we watched a bad movie together. And she just will never do it. And then I told you guys this, that we were finally watching it. And then I told her that night, I was like, oh, we're finally watching Scooby Doo, so you don't have to watch it with me anymore. I'm not going to like try and make you watch it. And she's like, what are you talking about? So in her universe, I have never mentioned Scooby Doo to her ever. So I don't know where
But
the
she
truth
still-
lies.
She still said no.
She still said no. She didn't want to watch it.
Yeah.
She
Because
made
it-
us watch Cats. And
Cats
the
was
Time
not as
Machine.
bad
All
as
right,
it should
so
have been.
in her defense, she does not make us do this podcast.
I know.
That's true.
She did not make this horrible wish on a monkey's paw that we did.
I wish my husband had a podcast that took him away one night every 2 weeks and didn't bring in any money or acclaim.
Yeah.
Wait, no,
no,
that's not a monkey's paw. That's just a
no,
straight
that's
up
just
wish.
Just a mean-spirited wish.
That's just a mean wish. Yeah, so she doesn't remember that I've been trying to get her to watch this. So I guess I have not been doing a very active, good job of this. I have not seen this movie since it came out. I saw it in theaters with some group of friends. Will, you may have been there. I don't know. It was right around the time that we met, I think, and became like friends. So
yeah,
maybe.
2002 would have been.
Oh, that would have been prime go see a movie with the
that would have been
boys and
7th
the
grade or
girls we all
so
have
because
crushes
it's
on.
1 year after 9/11, which was the year that we
6th
met.
grade, yeah. We met when 9/11 happened.
Yes.
Not the same day,
Yes. Well,
but
who
not
knows?
well. Anyways, that we met earlier that summer. Yeah. So I wanted to watch this movie, and by golly, it holds up exactly as I expected it to.
Well,
Ugh.
here, before we get into that, do you have any history with Scooby Doo?
Okay, so we had talked about this with Popeye, where I like didn't feel like I had any cultural relevance or that movie didn't
You
have
don't
any
have
cultural.
any cultural.
I don't have. Well, I definitely don't. But that movie had like no cultural connection to me. I like vaguely remember Popeye existing, and I might have had like a Popeye like stuffed guy
Yeah,
at
sure.
one point.
Whatever.
I feel like I have vague memories, but I wasn't like into Popeye.
I think
I
Craig was
however,
the only
Craig
person.
was the one into
Yeah.
Popeye.
No, he's the only person
the only
ever.
person in the world. Yeah. Scooby Doo, however, very into. I loved Scooby Doo as a kid. I still love Scooby Doo as an adult.
Yeah.
That's why I wanted to watch this movie. Really, is that I love Scooby Doo, and as bad as this movie is, I still love it because it's Scooby Doo, and I can't be mad when Scooby Doo exists in front of my eyes. I love Scooby Doo.
Will, do you like Scooby Doo?
Yeah.
I mean, I grew up liking. I liked anything that had a dog in it. Dogs were always my favorite.
Classic.
So Scooby Doo was always one of the ones I liked when it was on. I liked it. My Scooby Doo show was a pup named Scooby Doo.
Oh, hell yeah.
That was my favorite one. And I don't know. I think that was. I thought it came out when we were kids, but I think it came out in the 80s. No, right?
It was very early 90s.
Yeah. So that was my Scooby Doo show. And
that
then
probably was mine as well.
Yeah.
I watched.
Yours was like the original, right?
It was the original.
Yeah.
Well,
Yeah,
I
okay,
know
'cause
that
you-
you're trying to make an age joke, but it actually was the original. Like, still,
What's
that's
new,
the best
Scooby-Doo?
one.
That's not surprising.
No, that's from the early 2000s.
Oh darn.
Still with Casey Kasem. No, I watched. They have the reruns on all the time.
Oh
when I was a
yeah,
kid.
yeah. I
Yeah.
definitely watched those.
I know I watched those as well. Anytime I went to my cousin's house when they still watched TV, we're not going into it.
Yeah.
Scooby Doo was a thing that we would watch there
Yeah.
regularly. So
I mean, this is, it was on regular TV, and then we got cable, and then at the time, Cartoon Network basically had nothing but
Hanna-Barbera.
Hanna-Barbera
cartoons.
Yeah.
and Warner Brothers, like Looney Tunes stuff, and so you just saw a lot of it.
Yeah.
But I was obsessed with Scooby Doo. Like, half my wardrobe was Scooby Doo. I used to go to the WB
it's
store.
just dog skins.
Yeah, dog skins.
You monster! It's just the blue collar. You would go shirtless,
Yeah.
pantsless, just the blue collar. Craig, could you please put on clothes today?
Ruh-roh.
No, I'm Scooby Doo.
Jeez.
Yeah. He just stole his voice from Astro, didn't he?
Yeah, Astro came first. And
Okay,
so
yeah,
they're just
yeah.
like, just do the whole R
do
thing
Astro.
again. Something's wrong with Phil today.
Oh,
It's just not just today, though.
all right.
Yeah, so we all love Scooby Doo. Everyone loves Scooby Doo.
Yeah, so we
Yeah,
all have
I
a
liked him.
history. That being said, this is one of those weird movies where even when it came out, I was like, I like this, but I know this isn't good.
Yeah.
So this sucks.
Yeah.
Like the fact that we are talking about Scooby Doo, not the movie. The fact that we're talking about this movie, that sucks. This sucks. I hate this. I hate talking because who cares? Do you know what I mean? Like it's one of those movies that as I was watching it, I was just like, it's a Scoob. What are we doing? Like what are we? I like found myself like wondering why we're doing this at all because it's like.
What did I do?
What is there even to say? It's a Scooby Doo movie. Like Scooby Doo is one of those things that like it's not like other like cartoon like comic books or something where it sort of like grows up with its audience. Like Scooby Doo, there's I think they tried a Velma show a while back that nobody liked or racist didn't like, and so everyone, I don't know.
I don't know what because I didn't watch it.
Yeah, I didn't watch it either, and it doesn't matter anyways because like. It's like you're watching it going like this is just isn't it just sucks. It sucks. I don't know.
Scoob was good too.
Sure.
Yeah. I think one thing you mentioned the dog part. You like dog.
Yes.
As a kid, you liked dog.
Yeah, dogs were my favorite animal.
I think I also love Scooby Doo because Shag and Scoob are the heart of the show.
Well,
and it's a boy and his dog.
Yeah, that's Eddie Izzard had a thing in one of her shows where she was like, you know, this was way back in like the Bush administration. So like Americans weren't, well, continued to be. This is right when everyone's like, hey, America, did you know that Europeans hate you? And we were like, really? Why is that? It's like, because of a lot of things. And he was like, my advice to you, Americans, is when you go abroad, just mention Shaggy and Scooby. Because like everybody loves Shaggy and Scooby. Like none of the other characters, you know, who cares? But
Yeah.
Shaggy and Scooby universally loved. They believe. I think her joke was like they believe in cowardice and sandwiches, and everybody loves that. You know.
Yeah.
And she couldn't think. She was like, I can't think of anything else in literature. Maybe like, and then she quoted something from like Shakespeare. You know, and but yeah, because those characters are just like, what's not to like about Shaggy and Scooby?
Yeah.
They're funny. They just want to have fun, and they're cowards, and
They know when to
definitely
run.
stoners.
yeah, they're just definitely stoners.
Which, of course, they had to have a couple stoner jokes in this.
Yeah. I don't know if certainly as a kid I didn't realize that Shaggy was like just an absolute stoner.
No.
I don't think I realized until maybe this movie, and maybe not even quite in this movie, that like, oh, Shaggy's supposed to be like a joke about stoners.
Yeah, and that's
type
why
of
he's always
character.
hungry.
He's always hungry.
Yes.
And then in this one, they have the scene where they're in the
Yeah,
van, and then the smoke's coming out of it, and you're like, oh, that's funny because they're smoking weed, and then they go in, and they're like cooking kebabs
Yeah.
on a grill inside the van. It's like, it's not.
Then later, Shaggy says Mary Jane is his favorite name.
Yes.
I don't remember that.
You don't remember?
Yeah. I didn't realize until later when I was looking at the trivia that what's her name? Isla Fisher.
Yeah.
Her character is named Mary Jane, and I was just like, oh.
So that's
Okay.
why I figured it out in this one, because
Yeah.
they kind of hit you over the head with it.
Yeah, well,
Yeah.
that's so. This movie is interesting.
Is it?
Well, just in like kind of like, you know, it's kind of you know how you say something's interesting when you just want to talk about it.
Yeah.
It's interesting in that way.
Yeah. Okay. Okay.
So the movie was written by James Gunn, who at the time I don't think he was very famous at all. No,
He might have been doing trauma stuff at that point.
yeah, I think he was doing like, but nobody. So he wasn't like Guardians of the Galaxy level James Gunn that he is now, or
Yeah.
like people know him. But like he wrote it. From what I can tell, it's like he wrote it with the idea that it would be like more adult themed. You know, like it was sort of like more of a raunchy college comedy, not quite that level, but like somewhere closer to that. You know,
Very of the time.
yeah, and then apparently the Josie and the Pussycats movie did really badly, which had more of an adult version of these characters, and so the studio got nervous and they like kind of pulled it back down. So
Which
that's why
I think was the right idea.
which is why this movie has so many like weird, like the way I would describe the way this movie feels, it's if the Barbie movie was done badly. Because like the Barbie movie was all about how fun Barbie was to play with, and you know what I mean? The Barbie movie was both praising Barbie and making fun of Barbie at the same time. And this movie like gets kind of close to doing those things, and it just kind of like ends up somewhere in the middle.
Yeah.
You know? And I don't think I agree with what Craig just said. I do feel like a worse version of this movie is probably James Gunn's original version. That's more like sort of raunchier or like got more adult jokes in it, because at the end of the day, you're just sort of like, I kind of don't want to see these characters doing that. And also like, why? You know what I mean? Like, it's because the premise of Scooby Doo is objectively stupid. You know, it's like, it's not like
it's predictable.
It's very predictable.
Hanging out with your friends is objectively stupid.
Well, it's maybe not as objectively stupid as like Batman. You know, where it's just like, this is a man who dresses up like a bat and beats up bad guys.
This is a mad fascist.
Yeah. But like
billionaire bitch boy.
Yeah, it's just like a movie. It's I don't know. It's
so
it just sucks.
It's a live action Scooby Doo movie from 2002.
I'm talking about this. I hate this.
Listen, I'm so glad that I brought you to this point.
Can I talk about a pup named Scooby Doo?
Yeah, you can talk about
Okay.
anything Scooby Doo related. I'm into this.
All right, so the characterizations of Shaggy, Scooby, and Velma are pretty much consistent throughout most of the shows,
Mm-hmm.
and even this movie. Like, they're not very unusual.
Okay, has Velma always been like a queer icon character?
Not. I don't think I'm.
Like, was that the intention
no,
initially?
Absolutely not. Well, first off, the Scooby Doo characters are all based off another TV show.
Yeah,
They ripped the characters off of a completely a live action television show. Like had
the Many
exact
Lives
same
of Dobie Gillis. I think
something
is what
like
it's
that.
called.
Where it had like the jock character, the nerd, the whatever Daphne's supposed to be, and the stoner type character or the aloof character or whatever.
And then the dog type character.
Yeah, well,
classic Jungian archetype.
That might have been what they added to make it a cartoon.
Yeah.
No, it's a classic Jungian archetype.
Yeah,
I majored in psychology. I know what I'm talking about.
Okay.
Anyways, keep going, Craig.
The interesting thing about this movie is that it's clearly, I say clearly, it is influenced heavily by a pup named Scooby Doo. In the characterizations of Fred and Daphne, because that show is the first to make Fred into a complete doofus. He is dumb as rocks, and he is full of himself.
Yeah, and that my version of Fred is that version.
Yeah,
where he is like I feel like there's a version of Fred where when they first made it, where he's supposed to be the main character, right?
Not really.
Well, but you mean like just because he's the tall blonde guy, you know what I mean?
Yeah,
he's the leader.
Extremely generic. Like, he has no characters. He doesn't even have a catchphrase. He really has nothing going.
Yeah.
And I think it was smart for them. Like, we're gonna make this even kiddier version of Scooby Doo.
Yeah.
We have to make these very large personality characters.
Yeah, and so Fred's thing in the show was always that he thought every person who did it was the bully red herring. Which is hilarious.
Objectively very funny.
That the character's name was Red Herring.
Yes.
Because and I didn't pick up. I don't think it was like years after I learned what a red herring was that I just like suddenly thought of a pup named Scooby Doo, and I was like, holy shit, there was a character named Red Herring.
That was a joke the whole time.
I was like, why even make those jokes in kids programs?
And then Daphne is very much like a little bit more Valley Girl, and much more personality.
Yeah,
because she's, the first couple series, she's very much just kind of like danger prone Daphne, which they do reference in this.
Yeah,
and then she doesn't have not a whole lot of personality. And then in Pup Named Scooby Doo, she's a lot more ditzy.
Yeah, she's more of the like Valley Girl, pretty girl.
Yeah, popular girl.
Okay, Phil, your hand is up. Yes.
I was looking at pictures. A Pup Named Scooby Doo is not my Scooby Doo.
Oh,
the OG is my Scooby Doo.
Oh, okay.
I think I watched that way more than I ever watched A Pup Named Scooby Doo.
Oh, okay. And then the premise of this movie, which, to make it very simple, is it starts with them catching the Luna ghost, and then of course it's a man in a mask, and then Velma's tired of getting the short end of the stick. Fred's always taking all the credit, so she quits. Everybody quits. Everyone goes their separate ways, gets different jobs, and they're led together by...
And Matthew Lillard wasn't ready for it.
Matthew Lillard was never... They all get coaxed back into it. They get tricked into going to a place that is haunted, and then they have to fight off a actual supernatural entity. And this is the plot of Scooby Doo on Zombie Island.
I was just about to say, is this not exactly the plot of Scooby Doo on Zombie Island?
They took the broad strokes. It's the exact same thing, because that movie starts with them fighting a giant monster who's a man in a mask, and they have a whole song about how no matter what, it's always a guy in the mask. Nothing changes, and so they get sick of it and they go their separate ways. and then they all get tricked into going on the island.
I loved that movie. That movie is so burned into my heart.
I loved that movie because it was like it felt like the return of Scooby Doo, because it was in a lot of ways.
Yeah,
and it was like at the time I remember thinking like, this is actually good, because
it's a very good movie.
And like, but the thing was, with Zombie Island was like it was, I remember the tagline was, "This time the monsters are real."
Yes.
You know what I mean? Which is like a first for Scooby Doo, where it never was actually. And they made a big deal over it, where they were like going to reveal it. They had their camera ready, and they tried to take the zombie's mask off, and they like couldn't
do it.
But like, this movie didn't really, they totally glossed over the fact that they're dealing with actual monsters for the first time.
Yeah, they didn't really.
They were just sort of like, oh, so these are real monsters. Okay, well, here's how we stop them. And I was just like, hello, what? your entire existence is what?
The weird thing is, they made a sequel to Zombie Island that not a lot of people know about. That completely retcons that it was all real.
Oh, really?
Yeah, and they did this with. So before this, the only other series that it was real ghosts the whole time was the 13 Ghosts.
13 Ghosts, that's right.
So that was the first where it's like, oh, this is real, and they're dealing with actual things. And then they also came out with another show to retcon that one to being real. And I'm like, why do you guys keep doing this? It's like, who cares if you have stories that are real? This isn't like a set canon. Because there's how many different versions of Velma and Daphne and Fred?
Well, they made Return to Zombie Island in 2019.
Yeah, they're both pretty recent.
Why would they do that? They'd be like,
somebody's just like, you know what issue we have to fix now, 15 years later?
And like I said, like, Scooby Doo is one of those things that, like, you don't really grow. It doesn't grow with you.
Yeah.
You pick it up for a while, then you put it down. You know what I mean? So, like, absolutely none of the people who watch Scooby-Doo on Zombie Island are watching well, you might have, because you watched it with your kids.
Yeah, that's the thing is I caught it because of my kids.
Yeah.
But, like, the last thing I watched Scooby-Doo related was probably this movie. I missed What's New Scooby-Doo.
Yeah, I
missed all the other stuff until I had kids, and then we were watching, like, Mystery Incorporated, which came out like 10 years ago now.
Yeah. I heard that one was good. I heard Mystery
is actually very good.
Yeah, I've heard these, but at the same time, like, you know, it seems good in the way that it's like, it's nice to watch with it's like, oh, my kids want to watch this one show. Oh, this one actually like feels like the writers tried, you know?
That's the thing is what's unusual about it is that it is definitely this is the beginning of the story, and there are real stakes, and people grow and relationships change. And so if you're looking for a fun Scooby-Doo show, it takes itself a little too seriously for them.
Oh, interesting.
If you want an actual dramatic Scooby-Doo show, this is a great option. I like it a lot. There are just some times where I'm just like,
yeah, Scooby-Doo
seems weird.
Scooby-Doo is one of those things where it's like, the second you spend a lot of times in the lore or backstories of characters, you're just like, yeah, but like, who gives a shit?
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? Like, I don't need to know.
Explain where all these characters came from.
Yeah, I don't need to know Daphne's dad's name. Like, what are we doing? Like, who cares? You know?
It's also Daphne, if anyone's wondering.
Yeah, it was
Daphne.
It was like,
I'm sorry.
I think it was while I was watching a pup named Scooby Doo that I like learned that they even had last names, and I remember just thinking like, why? You know, it's like, I don't need to.
There's like, I made a joke about Jungian archetypes, but I'm like the Scooby Doo characters are just archetypes.
Yeah, they're like
they don't need last names. Yeah. They don't need they just are the thing they represent. They are the thing that they are.
Yeah. So like this movie, like I didn't know while we were watching it. I don't know now, and I don't care to know what the plot of this movie was. Couldn't make heads of tails of it. Like, from Scrappy's point of view, what the fuck was the plan?
Yes, spoiler alert at the end. Scrappy's the bad guy.
Really, who cares? Yes, that's the other thing. I remember now when we were watching the movie. So I think I said last week that I remember liking the movie. And I think what I was remembering was enjoying the watching of the movie, because at this point when the movie came out, I had put Scooby Doo down. Like Scooby Doo was not in my, like he wasn't in my life anymore. You know, we had parted ways. And
much like the characters in the movie.
Yes. And then when they were like, hey, Scooby Doo's coming back, and I was like, all right, fine, I'll go watch Scooby Doo.
Yeah.
I'm not going to like this, but hey, let's go see it. Why not? And I remember liking the experience, and then there was that reveal at the end where it was Scrappy Doo at the end. And I remember thinking, what? Because I Scrappy Doo was one of those characters like Jar Jar Binks that was created with me in mind, which was the child watching this show. You know what I mean? Like, so I would watch Scooby Doo with the Scrappy Doo was in like 13 Ghosts, wasn't he?
He was in 13 Ghosts.
Yeah, and
but
he was
there's different versions of him.
Well, whatever the case, like I'm not as much, but I remember liking Scrappy Doo when I was a kid because he was like Scrappy. I don't know. He was a cartoon character. Who gives a shit? This conversation sucks. I hate that I'm talking about this.
But here's the thing: is the fact that they use Scrappy as a butt of a joke, like, oh, haha, it's Scrappy.
Yeah.
Everyone hates Scrappy, so he's the villain. Like, I remember feeling off about that when I was a kid.
That's what I'm saying. Like when that happened, I was like,
he's not that bad. And
I remember thinking that as well. I was like, oh, it's Scrappy the whole time. Like, and I remember thinking back, and I think the problem is because thinking back on the character of Scrappy, I didn't have the meta narrative of everybody outside of this world, you know, in the real world hates him because nobody inside the show hates Scrappy. He's their friend. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And the fact that he's around, so I remember thinking like, oh, wait, why is Scrappy the bad guy? Since when is Scrappy a bad guy?
Why on earth would he be doing this?
Why would he be doing this? He's his nephew. Like, you know what I mean? Like, and yeah, they like say he's got a gland issue or whatever, so he's actually a grown up. But like in my head, my canon, which was what the show was telling me, he's a literal child. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Which again, that's a throwaway joke. That's not true. But they're taking the Scrappy. So when Scrappy first started on the show, when they had Scooby Doo and Scrappy Doo, and they had a couple different versions of that show, but it's the one people remember, which is the annoying, always running into trouble and puppy power.
Yeah.
Like the one people just remember as being annoying. They're like, oh, this sucks. And then the next show, they change the voice actor. And it's the one from like Boo Brothers, 13 Ghosts of Scooby Doo, where he's a much more level-headed. He's just part of the gang, and everyone loves him. And that's the one I knew mostly. And so when they're like, haha, it's Scrappy, I'm like, what?
Yeah.
What?
Yeah.
What their very good friend Scrappy Doo?
Yeah.
Yeah. Because I knew 13 Ghosts pretty well. That was the other show that I liked to watch. And yeah, Scrappy in that was just sort of he was the muscle of the group, you know, because he was the one who would go and fight things.
Do something.
He was the one who wasn't a coward, you know.
Yeah.
And he wasn't. I didn't find him annoying, but also I was a child, and nothing was annoying to me,
except for me.
So this movie is
awesome.
Set 100% in the early 2000s.
Oh my God,
like,
it
could
is
not
like
mistake it for any other time period.
It made me realize how many things were spring break themed. Like spring break was like, everyone was like, you know what the greatest thing ever is? Spring break. Let's do some spring break stuff. Look who's here. Let's frost our tips, put on our cargo shorts, tank top, and something else terrible. Puka shells. There it is.
Yeah.
And go meet some girls. And it's like, oh, cool. We're going to go party on the beach. Sugar Ray's here.
Yeah.
And it's just like, nah. You know, I was like, what the?
And Sugar Ray was there.
And Sugar Ray was there. Yeah. And honestly, their cameo made me go, oh, yeah. They were a thing.
Oh, they existed.
They existed for a while.
Lots of fart jokes.
Oh, too many fart jokes.
It's still, some of them get me. I was the only one laughing the whole movie.
That's
not
true.
True. That's not true. There was definitely, like, this is why I hate talking about this movie, because like there were parts of it where I went, yeah, that was pretty funny. And then I or I laughed. And
This is why I hate talking about this movie, because I'm genuine.
Half my laughs were
feelings.
laughing because I knew Will was
dying
upset.
inside.
Yeah.
No, the reason why this sucks isn't because the movie sucks. I don't think the movie sucks. I just don't know. Like, there's no conversation. We haven't been talking about the actual movie at all because there's nothing to say about it. It's just a thing that happened and it's fine. And if it disappeared forever, no one would notice.
There's not like
I would
memorable
know.
There's no reason to be mad at this movie. There's no because you can't be mad at this movie because you're like, what were you expecting? Do you know what I mean? Like, if you're like, I'm mad that the Scooby Doo movie wasn't good. It's like, well, no shit.
But Scooby Doo on Zombie Island is good.
Well, but because they kept it a cartoon. You know what I mean? Like,
live action Scooby Doo.
So much of the live action parts that felt weird were the cartoony bits, which would have just been fine in the cartoon.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? But so it like, how do you?
Yeah.
It's just like a movie. I don't know. Because I want to dig into why Scrappy Doo was doing what he was doing, but who cares?
Yeah.
You know what I mean? It's like if the second you start doing that, it's like it sort of feels like you're just you know what I mean?
Where did the magic come from? What is the
where did the
point?
magic come from? What was the point? Like, okay, why was everybody turning into zombies and then partying on the island? And then others of the zombie people were leaving the island at one point.
So there's a luchador guy there.
Yeah, there's a luchador guy who.
Yeah.
And then there's this weird black voodoo guy who was really problematic, and he didn't do anything. He told him what to do twice. I don't know. And there's so many.
When you explain it all like that,
it
makes the movie sound silly.
And that's
what are
the
you trying
thing.
to do
And
here?
it's like you thought the Scooby Doo movie was too silly, and it didn't make any. You're right, I did, but what? You know what I mean? Then I'm wrong. You know what I mean? Obviously.
Well, okay, but let me ask you this:
who cares? Why?
Which of the gang are you?
Which of the gang am I?
Yeah. And which of the gang do you think I am? So Jack always does this where she does it's not like a personality test that she finds online. She's like, oh, if you were a bird, what kind of bird would you be? Just like the classic question game. And I have found that I'm really bad at deciding which thing I am. So I want to know, actually, I'm going to reverse this.
Okay.
Which member of the gang do you think I am?
Which member of the gang do I think you are?
Yeah. Because I think
is Scrappy Doo an option?
Interesting.
No, I'm just wondering if it's an option.
I'm gonna say of the gang from this movie, and I don't think he was in the gang this movie.
He was in one scene.
He wasn't. He was in the gang for a little while when he peed on Daphne's shirt.
Yeah, that was weird.
Yeah, I didn't care for that. Yeah. No, I don't know. I which one are you?
Craig's Velma.
Well,
thanks.
Is Craig Velma? No, I don't think so.
I feel like he knows stuff and he says stuff.
And I have glasses. And I also get on the floor immediately if my glasses fall off.
That's true. Yeah. You keep doing that. But what's weird is you keep taking your glasses off and then crawling towards Phil and just grabbing his leg.
Yeah.
And I think there's something else going on.
Yeah, maybe.
I think Will is Shaggy or Fred.
Well, I'm definitely not Shaggy.
Okay,
there's no way.
You could be Scooby.
No,
Phil.
Yeah, is that what you want to hear? Yeah, Phil, you're Scooby.
I just wanted to hear an answer. I was trying to give you guys a genuine one.
No, I don't. I
think you're an OG Fred, not new Fred.
No, I'm definitely new Fred. Were you kidding me? I am definitely arrogant, selfish, writes a book about himself, Fred.
He also loves.
But I don't think you're an idiot.
Well, okay. So first off, they're all idiots. So
Velma's not.
That's true. Velma's not, but she's in the show. She's boring. She's, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Or a dork. And in this movie, she was sort of everyone had something to prove. Yeah, she was a hot dork. But everyone had, I don't know. So it's a hard question to answer because I don't know. Which one would you be? You would be. Velma. No, Daphne. There we go.
Interesting. Okay.
Yeah.
It's about the worst one that I would have taken. That's about the.
Why? Why do you think that's an insult to call you Daphne? You are danger prone.
Okay.
Oh.
I don't feel like I am.
No, that means danger finds you. You don't go looking for it.
I don't know if that's true.
Yeah, it's okay. Maybe.
I don't know why I think it's the worst.
Yeah,
she's just not my favorite character.
I think maybe it's because like in this movie she felt like she had like something to prove, and like she wanted to get everyone else to feel a certain way about her.
You know what it is,
and that's what you're doing to me right now.
You know what it really is. You know what it really is.
What it really is.
I wanted to be Shaggy.
You wanted to, okay, you're Shaggy. There you go.
Cool, thanks.
Yeah. Okay.
You guys were supposed to immediately say Shaggy.
Really?
Well, I was gonna say either Shaggy or Scooby.
Yeah.
One of those.
Thank you, Craig. Thank you for
You're
playing
welcome.
the game my way.
Yeah. That's why you're Daphne.
No, that's why. No,
Dang it.
I believe that is truly why you don't think you're good at that game with your wife. It's because you don't actually want to answer it. Because then once you answer it, you are now expected to give an explanation. And then you're going to have to admit that this is the way you view yourself, which may be embarrassing.
Oh, 100%.
Yes.
Sometimes you say things and I'm like, get out of my head, you son of a bitch.
Because that's exactly why I hate playing that game with my wife. Is my wife will go, if we were this character in this show, she doesn't do it exactly like that, but she'll be like, if we were these characters in this show, what would you have done in this situation that these characters did? And I'm like, I hate this game. I hate this game because I don't want to play it because because it feels like a trap. And I know it's not a trap. That's not what you're doing. But I do know, it's like, because it feels like I'm going to reveal something about who I am that's either going to be embarrassing or make you go, really? That's interesting. And you're just sort of like,
yeah. What if I'm viewing the world wrong?
Well, right.
And I didn't realize until just this moment when you've found something
and I
out
feel
about
like,
me.
I feel like that's also a unique situation for white male millennial, and I'm going to use a word, allies, where we're like, oh, our entire not existence, but like so much of our like maturing into adulthood was like sort of being very introspective and going like, oh, this is problematic behavior on my part, or this is the ways in which other people are made uncomfortable by this and that and the thing that I do because I'm, you know what I mean? And I want to be a good person. So I feel like for whatever reason, like when people are like, which one of these characters do you want to be? It's like, I
try as hard as possible not to inflict my personality on other people.
Yes. It's like, I feel like I can't be truthful in this moment because if I'm truthful in this moment, you might find out that I sometimes have angry, mad, or unkind thoughts. And then I'm going to be that person that you see on the television who's a white male who you don't care for. And I don't want that one to be me. I don't want to be that person. So I'm going to say something that I hope you want to hear. And then you're like, oh, you know what? Actually, I just don't want to play the game. Let's just not play the game. Let's just not play the game. Was that too much just then?
No.
Probably.
Phil.
Yeah.
If you were to give this movie a rating, what would it be?
Okay, I'm going to give this... Shoot. What number do I want to give this? Do I think everyone should see this? No. It's not a 5 out of 5. Like a 2 out of 5. Scooby in a dress.
And everyone wolf
Grandma.
whistling at them. Like that part, like they go to the airport
He's a hot dog.
and they're like, oh, we got to take Scooby on an airplane, which that's always been allowed.
Yeah, dogs can go on airplanes, dog.
Like that's always been allowed. You can always take dogs on airplanes. But Scooby is dressed in like a
Old lady
lady
nightgown.
sundressy nightgown thing with a big floppy hat. And the music that is playing is like,
Yeah.
and everyone's going like, oh my gosh. And you're like, wait,
And
is everyone immediately turned on by this clearly a dog in a woman's dress?
and then Fred's the only one who doesn't recognize him.
and it's just like, what is this? What am I supposed to be? I hate fucking talking about this movie. I hate that I'm saying these words.
Will,
I'm so sad.
let me relieve you of
How did
this.
my life get this way?
Just give us a rating, and this will be all over for
Like,
you.
who cares? I'm gonna give this movie. I think I'm gonna, a 2. It's a 2. It's not a 1. I'm not mad, but who cares? God.
I'm so glad I picked this movie.
Yeah.
I'm gonna give this movie 2. Daphne turning into Buffy the Vampire Slayer at the end of the movie out of 5. Like
Yeah.
that part.
Craig.
Because the movie made it seem like she was full of shit. You know what I mean? When
Yeah.
she said
Yeah.
like, I've learned all this stuff, and everyone's like, oh, okay. And then she has this huge fight where she beats up this like huge dude, and nobody sees it.
Yeah, nobody sees it.
Which I like that part.
I
Again,
didn't even think about the fact that nobody saw that.
Yeah. Again, I liked parts of this movie, but also, who cares?
I am gonna give this 3 out of 5.
Ooh.
Amusement park rides that can actually kill you.
Yep.
Out of
Which are
5.
actually, that's a lot of them. That's
Yeah.
most of them.
That's most. Yeah, sorry.
Technically, all
Yeah.
of them could kill you.
So, I'm with you guys on most of the things. I still have a lot of nostalgia for this movie.
I think you watched it more than we did.
I watched it a ton.
Yeah, I
Yeah.
think that's the thing. I watched it in
The-
theaters
yes.
and then never again.
Never
until
again, yes.
No, I watched
we
it a
watched
bunch.
it.
Also, without this, Matthew Lillard, I don't think would have had the career he did. And plus, now he just voices Shaggy.
Yeah,
so
no, I mean,
That's
you kind of
pretty
have to
sick,
give it
yeah.
give it the movie for that.
No, I'm like, I mean, he is Shaggy.
He's
you know
a
what I mean?
he's a Shaggy.
Yeah.
I also want to mention that Will did like parts of this movie.
I said it.
Everything that had to do with Scooby. He's
I
like,
did enjoy
I
it.
actually like Scooby.
Yes, I thought for sure that I was like going to hate Scooby because I'm like, he's going to be some CGI nightmare clown, and I'm not
Oh,
here
there
for
were
that.
CGI nightmares in
Yes,
this.
but he actually looked relatively good, especially when compared to the weird bunny demons, which looked like awful. They
Yeah.
looked
No explanation.
Yes.
They
where
looked
they
like
came
they were
from.
from the cutscene of like a PlayStation 1 game.
Yeah, the Jersey Devil video game.
Oh my god.
Yeah.
Whoa.
Yeah.
Phew.
Anyways,
Whoa.
Just got hit with some
you guys knew that game? I
Yeah.
thought I was saying that for my brother and my brother alone.
no.
I only knew it because of you.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
I never-
remember
I
seeing
didn't- 'cause I
ads
didn't-
for it.
Yeah.
I loved that game. It was one of my favorite games.
Was
And
it like a platformer?
Yeah, it was like a platformer, and
Yeah.
I played it when I was older, and it's awful. It is almost unplayable. I
Like
don't know why I liked it
Gex or
so much.
Croc?
Yeah, it is a lot like those.
Craig, is the Jersey Devil in real life big or small? Do you know?
He's kind of big.
I thought so.
Yeah,
okay.
he's not like huge.
In real life.
Yeah.
Well, like the cryptozoology.
Yeah, like in real life, not the video game one.
Oh, okay.
Idiot.
Okay.
So this was Scooby Doo.
Yeah.
Yes.
I think our next choice is Craig.
No, it's Will.
No,
Will.
it's me.
I did SLC Punk.
That's
so.
true.
Yeah.
I don't know why I thought Will. I'm so confused.
Yeah, it's just not. You're not.
So
a
that
smart
was
person.
Scooby Doo. Our
Yes.
next choice goes to Will Chodas.
That's right. And I've been debating between these two movies because, boy, oh boy, did this put me in a weird place. And in terms of like what I could pick next,
I thought this was going to open up a lot of options for you.
I somehow didn't. Couldn't think of it. So here's what we're gonna do. There was an executive producer on this.
Okay.
That was an executive producer on another movie, and the executive producer is William Hanna. So we're gonna watch the Flintstones movie.
Oh my god.
Oh my God. Yes. This is another one I haven't seen since I was probably 10 or less, or whenever it came out.
Oh my god. This is the first movie I ever saw Halle Berry in.
Oh yeah, yes,
Uh-oh.
yes. I remember that and going like, interesting.
Yeah. Something
Oh,
I
it
like
w-
about this. I don't know what.
It wasn't the Herbal Essences commercials for you guys?
It may have also been those two.
Okay. Huh. Well,
Okay.
cool. That's exciting.
Yeah, we'll try the
Is
Flintstone
it?
movie out.
Is it exciting, Phil?
I don't know. I genuinely don't know.
Have
I-
you seen the Flintstones? Did you say you
It's,
did?
yeah, but it's been 20 or
You know,
25 years.
This is one that I may be more in Craig's camp, where I had it on VHS, and I remember watching it a lot.
Okay, I probably saw Viva Rock Vegas more than
Oh,
this
I
one.
remember not liking that one at all.
Because when
Is Gazoo in either of these?
The second one, I think.
He's in the second
yeah,
one.
He's in the Viva
Okay.
Rock
it
Vegas
also
one.
has what's her face from 30 Rock, and that's where I knew her from. And
Oh,
so
yeah,
when
yeah,
she was on
Jenna.
30 Rock, I'm like, hey,
It's Betty.
it's Betty from Flintstones Viva Rock Vegas.
Yeah, because they didn't get any of the original cast for the second one.
No.
Oh, man.
Anywho.
Amazing.
Sorry, I'm now thinking about what I can make you guys watch. Thank you for liking and subscribing to the podcast. We're on Instagram, Facebook, TikTok, and YouTube. If you want to tell us what part of the group you are of the Scooby Gang,
Yeah, which of the Scooby Gang?
And
you are.
also, tell us what part of the gang we are, because I can't decide for myself.
yeah,
No, don't do that. Don't message us at all. Actually, just stop.
Just message me personally.
Okay, yeah, do that one. So this episode was brought to you by Janet Chodas.
Woo!
Yay.
who's that?
I don't know.
You idiot.
If you want to hear your name shouted out and want to help support us, consider becoming a patron, patreon.com/mumbleandshrug.
If you like what you heard, I'm going to start that over.
Do it like Scooby Doo.
Can you do a Scooby voice?
I don't think I can.
You really? It's like one of the easiest.
Yes.
I don't know, because every
Just
time I think about
substitute
doing
the
it,
Rs.
I smile too much and I can't do anything. Okay. Give me a second. I'm
Okay.
going to get this.
Shaggy, there's someone at the door.
Oh, Ray Romano, you're back again. We thought it was Scooby.
Give me a Scooby snack.
No, Ray, you're so silly.
If you like what you heard, consider leaving a review on any of our platforms or send us a handwritten piece of fan mail.
Mm-hmm.
That's all for this episode. I'm Phil Kessel.
I'm Will Chodas.
And I'm Craig Norland.
Don't watch movie.
Rife Rubies, right?
Yeah, why can't
Yeah,
I do it?
I don't know.
It's like the easiest ones. Like, hey, man. Like, hey, man, don't watch movies. What's wrong with you?
I don't know.
I don't know. Apparently, it's a trigger point for Will to do Scooby Doo voices.
Those are the only two I can do.
Don't watch this movie. Probably.
Yeah, don't.
Yeah.
Just
I
forget it.
don't
Skip this
skip
one.
this one. Watch Scoob.
Don't even
from
listen
like
to this
2020.
episode. Go back and
Yeah, if you
leave
somehow
it.
made it this far, reverse time and
Well,
don't have listened to
just
this.
go back and leave it unplayed, so it's forever just sitting there as a non-played episode.
Brought to you by Mumble and Shrug Productions.